Welcome to Subramani. Subra, did we learn that gold and cash are the best substitutes when there is a drawdown? I think it's a very good question to ask, and I'm very happy that you asked about gold because cash is something which everybody tells you that you need 6 months of expenses or 1 year of expenses because of the COVID thing which happened, etc. So, yes, cash and gold are the best thing to sell when the markets are bad. But I will also have to add that over the last 3-4 months, gold is not being a good hedge. I would be doing a separate post on that. Gold has not behaved as a good hedge over last 3-4 months. So over long periods of time, yes, in a distressed time when you don't feel like selling equity and feel like selling debt, gold is a fantastic item to be sold. But you have to have it in liquid form, which means an ETF and not a sovereign gold bond, because sovereign gold bond is technically liquid, but in the market it always sells at a slight discount. You should be happy to buy it, but you may not be in a very great position to sell it during difficult times. So yes, you should have cash. You should have enough cash to last you during the bad times, and you should have enough gold also. So in gold and in cash, don't look for returns. That is the stupidest thing to do. If you have cash, keep it in the safest bank, keep it with the access by an ATM card, keep some cash at home, all that's fine, but don't chase return in gold and in savings account, because you've kept it for a completely different reason, right? That's the more important lesson to learn. Another question which I got asked is it a great time to be investing in the month of March? Yes, it is. It was in retrospect. However, if you were lucky that in March you had spare cash for whatever reasons, you had sold a flat and you had it, you had broken some fixed deposits, you had it, you had just sold some shares and therefore you had it, for whatever reasons, it would have been a great time to buy. But I'm telling you this in, say, February or March of 2021, and maybe I would have said it even in November, December, but please understand, the market can go from 52,000 for, let's take the Sensex. The Sensex was 27,000 in March, and then it went in February, it went to 52,000. There is nothing which says it can't go down from 52,000 to 40,000, stay there for a couple of years and then go back again to 52,000. We don't think that the market will behave in a particular way, and the market behaves that way, right? In March 2020, if I told you there is such a huge pandemic and the market has fallen and the market is going to double from here in 5 months, none of us would have believed it. None of us, even assuming I had such an idea, I would not have the guts to tell you that there is some such idea in my stupid head. So the chances are that none of us knew this was going to happen. So people like me, I did not need the cash, so I didn't sell, and in March I had money, so I invested, and I had exited those positions which I had taken in March by November, because money had doubled, tripled and all that. Only one share which I bought at a price of 45 is now something like 500. I mean, this kind of sensational return I was not expecting in that, but yes, that happened. But that was one share. All others I doubled, went up 1.5 times, 2 times, 3 times, and I just kept selling it off. These are shares which are anyway there in my original portfolio. So to me, I have no regret selling it and then seeing the price go up. That's fine. My original portfolio has gone up. That's fine. I could live with that. But all this is with retrospective thing. One very, very important learning is, don't prepare for the next COVID. What happens is, now we're all prepared for COVID 2, COVID 3, COVID 4, but the next thing might happen will be very different, could be very different. Now, how do you use it? You use this because somewhere during Women's Day or somewhere during Cancer Day or something like that, people will push you and say, look, you can have cancer, so why don't you take cancer insurance? This is like taking COVID insurance. Don't take cancer insurance. Generally, take a big insurance for covering everything. It should not only cover cancer, it should also cover liver failure and kidney failure and all those things. Everything costs money, right? Don't cover yourself for a specific risk. Don't cover yourself. Don't think I'm well prepared for COVID 2. Next COVID 2 could happen after 100 years. You may not be alive, but be prepared for general risk. General risk is a 30% drawdown. Yes, if the market goes down from, say, I'm saying approximately 50,000 on the Sensex, if it goes down to 35,000? Is it something which you think can't happen? I can tell you it will definitely happen, and it will happen once in a decade, right? Once in a decade, market drawdown of 30% plus happens. Every year there will be a market down, pull down by about 10%, right? So 50,000 can go to 45 and recover to 52. That's perfectly possible, but be ready for one big drawdown. So when the drawdown happened in March 2020, I was not prepared for COVID, but I was prepared for the drawdown. I knew there would be a drawdown like this in every decade. That's a fantastic time to be buying, because everybody else will tell you this time it is different, it is end of the world, etc., etc., etc. If you have enough cash and you have enough gold and you can spare it and have the guts to buy equity, it's a fantastic time to be buying equity when everybody else is losing their head, right? It was a great time to buy. At least you didn't buy, you didn't sell. That itself is something to feel good about, because it depends on how, is this the first drawdown that you are seeing, especially when you have money. If you see a drawdown when you're 22, it doesn't really matter. It's not your money, it is somebody else's money. Maybe it's your father's money, but it is not your money. But at 45, 50, when you see a drawdown, then it hurts, because you've got a portfolio, you've got some X amount, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 50, 1.5 crore, 2 crore, whatever, but you have money now. Then when you see a drawdown, it hurts. But so be prepared for a drawdown. Of course, a drawdown is going to happen. We do not know when. But don't think of the drawdown coming back and in 3 months there will be recovery. That may not happen. That way we are lucky that it happened in 3 months. Another question which I have been asked is, market is anyway not, market is doing extremely well, but the economy doesn't seem to be doing that well. What is the reason? Well, 2-3 things have happened. One is companies have learned how to cut costs dramatically, so have individuals. Right, so individuals who have stayed without visiting the plexus, without eating out, without doing any of those major big travel, foreign travel, even big weddings have been put on hold. People have 30 people, 40 people attending a wedding and not 4,000, 5,000 people, right? All these things have happened, and all these are good learnings. However, please understand the flip side. The fact that you have not spent money on a wedding means some wedding planner somewhere has earned less. If that wedding planner company were listed, that company share would have gone down. You are happy you didn't travel, but that the Indigo employees are not happy that you didn't travel. Indigo still has to pay salaries, depreciation, etc., right, to be able to live through this recession. They lived through this recession, and I think the airline industry was one of the best, or rather Indigo, SpiceJet were some of the best companies in terms of how they coped with the problem, right? They coped very, very well. So those shares, of course, it took a beating, and it also came back and recovered, did well enough for, Indigo is back to 1700, which it's some all-time high. Maybe it's gone up a little higher, but yes, 1700 was the price where it used to be there for a very long time. Did we learn that we need to have an emergency fund? Of course, we always knew we had an emergency fund, but I would look at emergency fund in various parts now. I would look at some money in cash at home, maybe 50,000, maybe 1 lakh. I would look at some money in your account which is accessible by a debit card or a ATM card, whatever. Some money in your wife's account with the same access, some money in your children's account with the same access, right? If one account there is a problem, you at least have other accounts to withdraw from. Having some money in liquid fund makes sense, ultra short bond fund makes sense, but remember, ultra short bond fund of Templeton was illiquid during the time when you wanted it the most, perhaps. April is a month when you wanted to invest and you did not have access. It's worse for people like me who are anyway doing a systematic transfer to an US fund with that money in ultra short, and that got stuck. So I was not looking at an 8% yield in ultra short for investing. I was looking to transfer it into an equity fund in your US, which was giving 28%. I wanted that to happen. That has not happened. So your money should be accessible to you when you want it, not when the fund manager wants it. That's a huge risk. I would still keep money in ultra short bond funds, because I don't think that you can't take one example and say you should not like that asset class. So cash at home, cash in the bank, cash in liquid fund, cash in ultra short bond fund, and gold. That should be your emergency fund. Thank you.